talk a bit about selling a business and
Yes,
perspective
yes,
of that. Would you tell
yes.
us about that?
Yes, thank you. I think when you first start a business or when you're in the thick of your business, you're trying to get through the next 5 minutes. Maybe you can create some space for yourself to think about the next quarter. But I think understanding where you ultimately want to go with your business is one of the most important things you can decide early on. And if you don't know just yet, that's totally fine as well. But understanding this is something I want to build to give to my children. This is something I want to build to sell. This is something I want to build to become a heritage brand or to become one avenue in multiple verticals. I think understanding where you're going allows you to work backwards. I think it allows you to prioritize when things feel overwhelming, hazy, and you're not sure where to start, like understanding what the goal is, just everything else falls away. It just really gives you that clarity. I think also understanding what the end goal is helps you stay committed because you're going to have setbacks, and knowing what it's all for and what you're working towards can be one of those just tools you can reach into your pocket and pull out and remember this is why I'm doing it. It's something that I talk to young entrepreneurs about a lot. Again, it's just thinking ahead, and it's scary, but I think one exercise I tell people to do is to write the headline. Write a headline for your business. You know, sold for $20 billion to Amazon or whatever it is that which is possible, anything is possible. But I think just getting yourself in that mindset to be looking down the road, which is one of the hardest things to do, but it clears so many pathways. And that was something I didn't think about until like year two, really, because again, I was just in survival mode. Just keep this thing. The end result was just make money. That was it for the first 2 years. It just become profitable. And then you get a little space to be more strategic.
You said eventually you got an art studio with friends. The process of that and where you find an art studio to rent and what it looks like. How did you work that whole thing out?
So one of the benefits of having worked in journalism and covering other small business owners is that, these opportunities exist. Spaces open up, there's vacancies, and I think people saw me as someone looking for a new project and just always a creative person, always looking for space. So I was approached about the shared studio. The artist that I joined the studio with, the textile artist and the illustrator I mentioned, they were just friends I knew here and there, but I knew that they also needed space. I like to think that I just know an opportunity. It's not something that I was pursuing or told people I was looking for, but when it came to me, I was like, yes, that's an opportunity. And that's the same way that our first flower shop came to be. Someone had a vacant space. It used to be a shoe shop. It was a shoe repair store. There was a big hole in the ground where the shoemaker would just throw nails into the basement that he didn't want to pick up. And I saw it and I was like, I love it. I was like, this space is perfect. It's beautiful. It was like rotting and water damage everywhere. But I just saw the opportunity. There's that saying, be ready when the luck happens. So a friend of mine owned a pizza shop across from my first flower shop. And when he saw the vacancy across the street, he reached out to me because he knew that anything good for the street would be good for him as well. And that was something else I learned regarding flowers specifically, and we've got some developers and builders here, is that real estate developers love flower shops. We got approached, thrown free rent. Come be in our lobby, come be here. There's just something about a flower shop that is really appealing, great curb appeal. At one point, we did have 3 locations, but in the end, we ended up with just one. But I leveraged that to get really great rent and negotiation power too. So you've got a lot to offer.
Did you ever take a business course?
No.
Never. So accounting, marketing, economics, all of that stuff was Nothing.
I studied English. I could recite Beowulf.
Okay. I'm sure that's important for a mortgage application.
Yeah.
So where did all this come from? If you were to go back and say there was something in my life that made me an entrepreneur, what would it be?
Well, I'm so humbled by the question. Thank you. Again, my mom was a seamstress, and I swear to you, I would go to sleep at night and just wake up to the most incredible costume or dress, or I would rip out something from a catalog and hand it to her. And I just saw her as someone who could do anything. And regarding my career before opening the flower shop, even as a journalist, it's a very solo practice. You have editors and you have subjects and people you interview, but at the end of the day, you're just sitting down, it's you and a blank page. And I've just always loved erasing an entire paragraph and starting again, or that's not the right sentiment, or you learn something new and you have to start from scratch. And I've just gotten really accustomed again to accepting when things need to be reworked. I don't dwell when something goes wrong. I'm just like, let's go, let's fix it. And that saves me so much time and so much mental anguish, I like to think. And again,
Okay.
I'm not afraid to mess up.
I'm intrigued by the name of your business, your store, and I'm wondering how you came to that name and what, if anything, was in second and third place.
I love it. So I wanted the name to be floral. I wanted it to nod at flowers without being too on the nose. So it's born from that old game, she loves me not.
Yeah.
And so I wanted it to also be positive. So she loves me. And other runners up included Flowersmith, just because I had previously been a wordsmith and it was in a shoesmith shop. I liked the combination of Smith, but ultimately she loves me just like ding. And I immediately went to GoDaddy.com and I bought SheLovesMe.com. Somehow it was available. It all just aligned.
Do you think the branding and the unusual name helped you? Do you think that was part of the success story?
Yes, I think branding is 85% of a business. I think it does work for you while you're sleeping. I think it does work for you before you enter a room. I think it repels people in the best way, people that you don't necessarily think are your customer. It deters them while attracting people. I think investing and sharpening your branding is one of the highest leverage things you can do at a company.
Is that a sense that you developed during your company, or is that a sense you always had?
It's something that I saw happening, like, oh, she loves me. I love the name. Oh, she loves me. And it's something I saw also as an editor. At one point in my career, I decided if something was in the news or it wasn't, And I think I got clear on what broke through the noise and what drew people to certain businesses and brands.
Was it also related to men buying? Do men buy more flowers than women?
That's a good question. Only on Valentine's Day. And when I was at the company, we had a whole meeting devoted to talking to men and how men need to be talked to. This is always in the beginning of February. And the main takeaway is charge more as we get closer to Valentine's Day, because the longer they wait, the more desperate they're going to be.
Okay.
And that was something else too, is as a business, you probably have a lot of different channels or avenues. So at She Loves Me, we did weddings, and that we're talking to brides. We did retail and delivery. That, to your point, Thomas, was a lot of men. We did a lot of brand work. So if Glossier opened in Georgetown and they wanted flowers for their grand opening, we would do that. We did a lot of workshops. We would go into law firms and construction companies and teach flowers as team building. So each of those customers was a different profile.
I would like to build on Tom's question about the MBA skills. I think for people who are entrepreneurs and want to set up their own I think the practicalities can be the thing that trips you up. When do you get an accountant? Who handles your back end processes? Those are the things that, you have a great idea, but unless you're independently wealthy.
Which I am not, to be clear. Mom was a seamstress. I don't know if everybody caught that. That's such a great question and so important. And similarly, the first thing I did after hiring a florist is hire someone to make sure I was compliant. Because you can be the most successful business in the world, but if you miss a filing or if you forget to file 0 on that personal property tax thing that they make you do every year, it'll really trip you up. So I hired a part-time bookkeeper who worked with other small businesses. And I think talking to your network, because you're going to meet other business owners. Hey, who do you use for bookkeeping? But that's a great point, is making sure you're compliant can make or break you in those early phases too. But I think everything else just really slow to learn, like learning payroll, learning how to set up benefits packages. Because the thing is, even when you outsource things like that or you hire someone to oversee it, you still have to have a basic understanding of it. And I remember in the beginning, I was always, I'm just the florist, I'm just the florist. And then finally, I was like, I'm not just a florist. I own this business. I need to know what a 4% company match means on our 401k. I need to understand these things that are coming out of my mouth. So I think taking yourself really seriously and getting really comfortable with those more nitty-gritty, uncomfortable pieces is just as important.
Do you buy the Accounting for Dummies, or do you go to the local community college and take Accounting 101?
And it's really such a personal preference, like how deeply do you want to learn it? I was more interested in learning marketing at that point.
Okay.
If I teach myself something, it was going to be learning marketing and messaging. And I was comfortable outsourcing the numbers while still, again, having my finger on the pulse of it. No matter what, if someone falls off a ladder, you're responsible. If you missed your tax filing, you're responsible. You are the person. Yeah.
So taking all these things that you've learned, what are some of the things that you're taking with you in this transition?
Such a good question. So I have a tendency, again, coming from journalism and being one-on-one with a computer, I have a tendency to struggle and figure things out on my own. I mentioned delegating some things that I was uncomfortable with, but I didn't think I could learn something or would really excel at it unless I struggled and figured it out. So asking for more help, working with more coaches, I think is something that would have saved me a lot of time. Because when you hit that leadership ceiling, that's a whole nother story. And I think I struggled too long without getting coaching and without getting help. So I don't think I'll be so hesitant to enlist professionals, and just finding ways to just let it be fun and easy, because there were really tough times building She Loves Me, and there will be tough times in whatever I do next as well. But I've got my daughter now. She helps reprioritize things and try to enjoy it as much as I can.